Gentlemen, awesome Kong is here. Kia Stevens, Olympia, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm still smarting from that loss on the showdown.
Oh, yeah. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
You almost choked out Brienne, though.
Oh, my gosh.
That's awesome.
The competitive monster in me was just like, why? You two are horrible at this. Somebody switch out my players, my team members, which is just so wrong. You just don't give up on your team members.
It was fun. Well, you were in character. It was good. So much cool stuff going on. I was excited because I didn't know about the AEW stuff when it was going down. And I just mentioned to you that we had on Cody and Brandy. And you had said to Brandy that, oh, you think they're going to remember me? And she's like, are you kidding me? Of course. And then you get that pop. What was that like?
Surprising and extremely hard to stay in the Kong psyche.
Yeah.
And not just turn into Kia and be like, oh my God, you like me?
Right.
Yeah, you remember me? Get the F out of here.
Right. Yeah. How's it been though so far? Because you've been TNA, you've done WWE, and now this. I mean, AEW, man, they're doing some special stuff right now. How's it feel?
It feels revolutionary. It feels like about time. You know what I mean? It feels so good to be able to express your creative thoughts and freedom without being set in a cage, you know, or having limits on it, to just share and be heard. That feels new and fresh and almost like unbelievable.
It's funny you say that too, because it's new and fresh, but it's also old school.
Yeah.
It's old school in the fact that that's the way like old school like Piper or Dusty Rhodes, like dudes like that would cut promos.
Oh, yeah.
And now you guys have the ability to do that. Is that one of the main selling points of why you decided to go in? Because you're on a very popular TV show. You didn't have to come back and do
it made me remember why I fell in love with wrestling.
Yeah.
And what I originally thought wrestling was. We just did a show in Philly. And one of the dark matches was with Cody and the Young Bucks, and it was amazing because at the end they bring up this kid that was just like Orange Cassidy.
Oh yeah.
And they do like on the fly this whole like gimmick on the fly. This kid is just there, there. They bring him into the ring, and they do this whole thing, just impromptu, and improvise it, and they call out a ref, and it was so fun, and it felt so much like, you know, the old school when they would just give like Foley and Austin the mic, and then sometimes people would come in and interrupt totally just on the fly.
And it feels
that's
more
when
real.
That's when the magic was. You know what I mean? When it wasn't, you know, you're going, and then on the paper it said that.
Right.
You know, how can you forget something that isn't like scripted?
Yeah, but that's the difference. I mean, you're in a different position because you are an actress, you know, and it's like I think that wrestlers, though, a lot of times they don't want to just be like, I'm not an actor. I think Jericho said, I'm not an actor. I'm a wrestler that performs and does my thing. And of course, there are storylines and ways that you're going to sell the matches, sell the promos. I showed my brother and I, growing up, big WWF old school fans, and we watch all. And like I remember WrestleMania 4 is one of my favorite. Like when Savage wins the tournament, this whole thing. But it felt like a sporting event. It felt like and I saw this promo for Cody and Jericho coming up, and it has Cody sitting in his kitchen talking to Brandy, and he's thinking about business decisions.
Right.
But it doesn't cut in like, you know, a helicopter doesn't fly in and like a demon pops out. You know, it feels like 24/7 HBO style. And I was like, that's what I like.
Yes, and it's, you know, the mom comes in and talks, and everyone comes in and makes, you know, commentary about how serious he's taking it and how, you know, the pressure and the weight that he has, because, you know, he does have all these business meetings and things that he has to do, as well as focus on how he's going to compete in this match. So, I mean, all of that is extremely true, and so that makes it raw for me.
Sorry, go ahead, Frank.
I was listening to an interview where you were talking about going to the first show in Chicago, and you had no idea what this was going to be. You thought it was just going to be kind of another indie league or something like that, and then it's blown up into this huge beast. Why? Why do you think that is?
I think because the fans are 100% behind it, and it's something that they've been waiting for. I feel like AEW is that thing that fans have been talking about after like a big pay-per-view, and the pay-per-view's over and everybody's just having drinks at wherever they, you know, congregated at, and they throw out the wishes. Man, I wish X, Y, and Z, and why don't they X, Y, and W?
Right.
And now that's happening, or at least that's what it feels like is happening. And so it's like wishes are being granted here, left, and center. And all the fans are like, finally, about time. Yes, about time. They're doing what I said. Remember when I said that, Chad? I said that. And now it's like it's happening.
That's fun for wrestling fans in general. Because even go back to when WCW and WWF were feuding, it was good for wrestling. It was good for the fan base. So this is the thing, though, because like when you guys hear, and this was right before, we had Brandy and Cody, and right before it debuted, I think it was like the week of. Mm-hmm. So, and NXT was going up against you guys, and then you guys win. Like, what's the locker room like? Like, was it because they can go back and forth? I mean, we don't. Nothing's set in stone, but that's a big win.
Oh, I mean, it's not like we got together and had like this. Ratings party. Right now, we just have our heads down, and we're focused on, making sure we put out this product quality every week. You know what I mean? Because from what I hear, it's a marathon and not a sprint. That's what I heard. So,
Speaking of things that we've heard, I want to go back for 1 second because talking about the interview I listened to, you talked about how you're getting medical finally and how excited you are that you guys are getting medical. Mm-hmm. As somebody who really, truly doesn't understand who is offering what is the actual difference of AEW versus WWE, what they're offering in terms of your guys' health benefits?
Well, from my time in WWE, what I understood was if you got hurt in the ring, then that is something they would take care of. However, your everyday just needs, exams, checkups, whatever. If you have a cold, flu, whatever, that was something that you had to be responsible for. Jeez. And as an individual, it's kind of hard to acquire and expensive to acquire such medical care with the profession that we're in. So when you have a company like this behind you that's providing that really makes it a lot easier on the pocketbook. Yeah. And just to have that support of, hey, these people just don't see me as this product in a box. They see me as an actual person. We had a meeting about concussions, actually, and their approach to it was it was full of humanity, and really putting yourself first and your health first, which for old school people is hard to comprehend because we're the kind of people who will literally break our neck. I know people that have broken their neck in the ring and will try to keep going.
Stone Cold and
we got some spots to go.
Yeah.
My broken neck. All right, tape it up and let's finish it out. So to have that attitude of care and putting their talent before the bottom line is new for us and surprising, but appreciated.
Yeah.
You've been in this a long time. If a young wrestler came up to you, what kind of advice would you give them as far as WWE and that kind of stuff goes?
I would say just be careful and make sure you stay you. I've witnessed a lot of people go into that other place and kind of compromise their personalities and their values of who they are for like the paycheck or
notoriety,
the notoriety, the spotlight, and some really great people in the past that would turn into like dicks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, is that what that place did to you? And it just seems like to be the line that I hear a lot, that people would walk on eggshells there. I mean, I can't really. I left during my honeymoon phase, so I can't say whether yay or nay. But I have a lot of friends there that was like, wow, emotionally it took a toll on them.
When you were there with WWE, did you kind of start losing a love for wrestling a little bit, or did you just realize that this just wasn't for you?
I wouldn't say my love for wrestling was really lost. It just there were other factors that wouldn't allow me to focus solely on wrestling, which is why we had to take a break there.
Well, let me ask you about that then, because it's two questions actually, kind of two-parter. Netflix, with the show Glow, coming back for season 3, right?
Four.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
season 4. So what do they say when you say you're going to go back into AEW? Do they get it? Are they worried? They don't want their star to get hurt? Or does that ever come up? From the look of your face, that conversation didn't even happen.
Well, they do ask that I do not wrestle while we're filming,
Right.
And they always have a concern. They having this be something that they have researched. They understand the dangers, the possible risks, being a wrestler. But while I was filming these last 3 seasons, I took a total break from wrestling. This would be the first time that the show and my wrestling career will kind of coincide. And they just asked that I be, extra careful, but we're always as careful as we can be. I mean, most of the times when I get injured, because I tripped over a toy in my own house. That's how it happens.
That's how it happens all the time. Totally. Any of the girls from the cast make it to any of the shows yet for AEW?
Not for AEW.
Okay.
No, not yet. But we just had our inaugural show on the 2nd of October. So
it could be making it out there too.
There's a lot of space.
Did a lot of other wrestlers audition for Glow? Do you know a lot of other wrestlers that did?
Yeah, there were other wrestlers that auditioned for Glow. We were all rooting each other on. Did you go for? Yeah.
This is what we were talking about before. Are you the only one who is a professional wrestler who was cast?
Of the girls?
Of the
yes.
girls.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
That's what I
So did you have a lot of creative consulting that they were asking you about while you were
yeah,
filming?
which was fun. On
bet.
the first day, because we had a wrestling camp for a whole month before we started principal photography, and we get in there and Chavo, who's the one that's in charge, he's like, hey, and we don't let them know that I'm a wrestler, so we get them in line to start to learn some stuff, and Chavo and I go and we call these kinds of crazy spots, and the girls were like, wait. What?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wait, you want to do that right now?
Like you just picked it up and
Right,
learned it on the spot. That's great.
He's just calling out stuff. I'm like, oh, drop that. Oh, okay.
Like, how'd you pick it up so fast? You're good.
Right?
Of the
Because when you
women-
look at me, it's like,
Right.
you wouldn't
Think
just
so.
automatically think.
Of the girls, though, that have, because now you're going to be going into season 4, they've been getting some wrestling
Yeah.
training. Who do you think's the best? Who would do the best in AEW?
Oh, gosh, you could actually put all of their names in a fishbowl and pull one out. And
Really?
Yes.
They all picked it up?
100%. In fact, they picked it up so well. There were days where I was like, okay, you can, at least, you're an actress, right? You act like it's a little harder than what you're doing.
We get it. You're a natural.
Right?
We get it.
Yeah.
That's
How
awesome.
often is it stunt people, and how often is it actually Allison Brie or Betty Gilpin? Or
So for insurance reasons,
Yeah.
there are certain things that the insurance folks will not allow Allison Brie and Betty Gilpin to do, even though they are so game for it. So there are very certain things, but high spots where they're flipping in the air, so they're like, they'll put in Shauna Duggins or Helena Barrett. However, everything else, all of us girls do on our own. Like the rest of the girls, we do not have body doubles
wow.
at all.
They're the only two?
Those are the only two.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, sometimes Helena will double maybe for someone else in the group,
Okay.
Yeah.
just for a little bit. But I would say 90% of all their stunts, the actresses do themselves.
Kind of going off what you said before with AEW and how they allow you to there's more improv and that you can just be more real. I feel like that's what Mark Maron does on set. Now, it probably could be sticking to the script the whole way through. And,
Oh, no.
I didn't think so.
no.
I didn't think so. That's what I was going to say. So tell me a little bit about working with Mark and just watching him and his mind work. 'Cause I had the pleasure of knowing him through the Comedy Store days, and he's one of those minds.
Very hard to stay in your professional mind, because he comes out with these genius quirks, and then you're like, that was hilarious.
Right.
And it's just all day with him, and he slips into Sam so easily. To watch him work, it's just like it's a treat. It's like, oh, I got the best seat in the house.
And he fits. It's so like those old school '80s kind of promoters. It's really really special to watch the whole crew.
So
Well,
on the money.
Yeah, and then because of the success, one of the other things that it looks like it's been happening with AEW and WWE is that everybody's being approached. Everybody's like either, and Cody even said it, that people are getting better deals over there, even people they didn't even want to maybe particularly sign, but just because that AEW didn't want to sign, but we don't want you to go there, so they're getting
We're
more money
starve
now.
them out.
Right, but they're getting more money. So, but were you approached after your success with Glow to come back to WWE?
No.
You were not. Okay. Stupid on them. Look at you.
I mean,
Yeah, even better. Even better.
F
Look at,
'em.
yeah, F 'em.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Now you're back over there. How did that? Because we heard Brandy's side of the story, how she got you back. I want to hear about with the conversation when you guys had when you were approached. Like I know that you saw what they were doing. Why did you ultimately say yes? Like I know that we kind of covered it a little bit, but I want to know the heart of hearts. Were you going to say no at any point?
To be a wrestler, first you have to be a wrestling fan, and AEW truly made me love wrestling again because it got to a point where it was my occupation, and that's sad, when you've been beat up by wrestling so much that they just beat the love out of you.
That's what CM Punk said, too.
It's like it was sad, and then Hollywood comes a calling, which is kind of where I started anyway. As a kid, I was a child actress. That's where I started, but I loved wrestling so much. That's where my heart laid, and so when they ignited that spark again, oh my gosh, it was like I want to be a part of this, because when wrestling gets in you, it gets in you and it doesn't leave. But when you're just sad, when it makes you sad,
the love is back. The love is back. So let's get to the real question here. Who's asked you about the beat? Who's getting beat?
I don't know. Whoever they put in front of me.
We looking for anybody out there you want to challenge, that you want to take on, or we're looking at who should we be looking for you scrapping with? Because you can wreck some shop.
Like right now, it's just really like whoever they put in front of me.
You're just gonna destroy.
Let's make them unrecognizable. Let's do it.
Take their faces out.
I want to take out all my frustration
That's right.
I've been building up for these last 8 years to take it out on somebody.
That's right. The show, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been watching, it is AEW. It's All Elite Wrestling Dynamite, and it's on TNT, and it's live 8 to 10 to Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday night. So make sure you do that. We have Awesome Kong, a.k.a. Kia Stevens here. It was such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Oh, we're done. I will yap all day.
Well, no, we still got a little more time. If you still want to stick around, I didn't know if you had to run off. We still have a little more time. With
I
you.
know I have to run off somewhere, but this is
all right. We'll keep it for 5 more minutes.
You guys have Jack later,
I got more Glow
Jack
questions.
Yes.
I got more Glow questions.
Oh, go in, Josh.
This is one of my favorite
We love
shows.
the show so much.
Freak out for this show. What's the difference been between season 1, season 2, season 3? I mean, obviously, casts become more and more like family, but as far as shooting the show goes, it's gotten what has been the attitude in the room as each season has kind of gone by?
Oh well, we are really family there. In fact, Kate Nash and I, we were roommates at one point, and became sisters. And I mean, when I say sisters, I mean sisters with the arguing and the fighting and all. But we love each other incessantly. I love that woman. When we first started, we were over at Riverfront Studios, which was our own little town and world, and it was so awesome. Now we're at LA Studios, and we have to kind of share with everybody, which is great. It's a really nice place to be. But selfishly, I was I loved Riverfront because it was our own little town and world. But it's been great because we have a really great crew. Everyone's attitudes are really positive, and they're interested in wrestling now. There's a lot of crew members that maybe not have checked into wrestling that peek at
That's
wrestling
awesome.
now will come up and talk to me and did you see such and such and such and such? I'm well, I don't really watch that place anymore, but I'm glad you're checking it out.
Are you telling them? You're obviously telling them all about AEW too. Have they? I know that they said they haven't been there yet, but have they been trying to check it out? Have you talked to any of your girls about it?
Yes, they were very excited for my return,
awesome.
and they celebrated that. They thought it was absolutely awesome. I think we I can't make any promises, but I believe that we might see someone visit at least, that'd be fun,
Smart
right?
too.
Yeah.
It's good. It's smart. Maybe a little crossover Glow in AEW.
Right? A little something.
Could be cool.
It'd be cool. Nice little moment.
Yeah.
Are you pitching any of those things to the guys over at AEW?
Well, I mean, there have been discussions about the possibilities of what that would look like and what we would do.
Yeah.
I think right now there's a plan. And once those plans are realized, then we can get a little loosey goosey and see what else we can.
That's right. You got to be careful and not have it like when RoboCop came in back in WCW. Remember with Sting? Because he came in as a character. It would be cool.
Yeah. Or when they had. Do you remember when
Zeus?
they had the Three Stooges come in at?
Which one was that?
It was the new Three Stooges movie.
Oh right,
with Sean Hayes.
right.
They came.
Right.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember it, but I remember when they were doing the promotion for it. Yeah,
God, they came in and then the fans like turned heel. I was like, oh my God, the fans just turned heel. I'm like, wow.
Because of Sting. So back in the Sting when RoboCop 2 I think came out, Sting shows up and RoboCop. And everyone's like, but that's a character. And then like same thing like Tony Tiny Lister, who was in Debo in Friday, came out as Zeus, but he played Zeus in the movie, and then it's like, well, you're asking a lot of us to believe here.
So we would have to be careful, and just make sure things fit together nicely, something that the fans could appreciate and not ridicule. Because y'all know sometimes it's hard to please them.
Oh no, shit.
No way.
And everything, yeah.
Going back to Glow for a second, just because I'm assuming you're a fan of the show, you said to be a fan of, as I am. Do you think that Mark Maron and Alison Brie's characters should end up together? Are they endgame? Do you ship them?
Gosh, this is a conversation my best friend and I have all the time. And oh gosh, I don't know now because I was like, my best friend was like mad at Ruth. Was like, what the F is her problem? I'm like, well, she didn't get the pie. Well, so what? Suck it up and X, Y, and Z. So I don't know. I think that they might be great together, or they just might work as creative collaboration.
I'm there.
The creative collaboration?
Those two would not last past 3 months. They're both too emotionally disasters, the two of them.
Yeah,
I
think they would. Their magic is through their creativity.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. But it doesn't mean that they should end up together.
Right.
Yeah,
And I don't know how. I don't know what it would say with how female, empowered we've been pumping into the show to be and then she ended up with the guy, and it was like a romance thing, or I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know. They're just too, because they're both fucked up. The two of them, real messed up. Not in the way that it's like, oh, because they both are, then it could work. It's like, no, that would end terribly.
Codependency was
You don't need it. You don't need it.
No, I don't know. I maybe. Hopefully, I don't know. She would go out like a strong, independent woman and go buy her own little playhouse and put on her own little plays. I have no idea.
I'm just obsessed with the fact that this is what you and your best friend are talking about.
Oh my God, we argue. Oh, there's 3 of my best friends that we argue instead. I'm like, I don't write the show. I have opinions, but oh my God, you guys act like I write it. I'm like, stop yelling at me. It's not.
It's like, I'm doing my job. Leave me alone.
But it's crazy because they love it.
Right.
It brings out passion for the debate. But I'm like,
they want you to change it. Some things. I can't do anything.
I feel like the best episode of last season was the flip episode. It was when you all came out.
Oh
as
my God,
different characters.
That was the funnest.
I bet. I was just gonna say, was that your favorite?
Oh
episode
my
to shoot?
God,
Yeah.
it was so fun. They let us go out there and just do whatever we wanted, basically. I mean, they wrote some lines, but they let us go out there and ad-lib
That's cool.
all day long.
That's
and
awesome.
it was, oh gosh, it was so fun. And my husband was there that day. He's actually the first fan you see when I walk out and whatever, and there's one day, one of the takes I sit on his lap and it got a little bit there are 50 other people in the room.
That's good.
That was the funnest
Oh,
day.
good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you guys ever? Because I know the first season. Because I actually did watch the original Glow back in the day, and I remember a lot of those Hollywood and Vine and all of them too. But it's obviously when you have 4 seasons that you're going to be doing, you have to do a lot of original stuff. But because the first season had a lot of what kind of happened, is there a lot more inspiration of the story because it went under at one point. The main character who Mark Maron was based on had some problems. Is there still
There's that great documentary about it too.
Yeah, is that based on that stuff now? But we're just totally in a different universe.
We are totally in a different universe.
Yeah.
This is basically glow. It's like if you were to put like a frosty window in front of it, you know, be like, it looks like that would be glow.
But we're past that.
I
see.
We're
have you met any of them? Oh, sorry. Have you met any of the old school?
Yes. You know, Matilda the Hun is a great friend of mine, cool. and Roxy, we will talk every so often, and Little Egypt stops by all the time. So, and they're very supportive. Every season, they have a viewing party at the launch of whenever the show drops. They have a viewing party, and Roxy, her daughter, does like gluten-free treats.
That's cool.
And they'll eat them and have a whole spread, and it's beautiful.
That's awesome.
I'm so glad that they're still friends to this day. A lot of them, they get together and they support one another, do like cruises and whatnot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Little Egypt was covering the AfterBuzz Glow After show.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
all the people
awesome.
on. Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome.
Great. So clearly in support.
Yes. Well, Glow Season 4 is going to be coming out, and we know, once again, check out All Elite Wrestling Dynamite on TNT live 8 to 10, and that's Eastern Standard Time. Thank you again for joining us, and we will get you back in the ring for the Schmodown.
Thank you. And don't forget AEW Dark, because we have dark matches at our live show, so you check that out. Check the website, AEW Wrestling.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, guys. When we get